So much has been made of South Carolina's offense. So what is your analysis of their offense, and what is going wrong just with the inconsistencies there?
I think my opinion would be that they've had a lot of ups and downs. At times they've been able to roll for quarters and get some explosive plays. I think injuries have hurt them, and then the adjustment. I think also being on the same page. It's offense is so much about being in sync, efficient, and when you do those things, then you have a chance to really be effective. You're good, and it's hard to be efficient and effective when, first play against Florida last week, both guards run into each other. I mean, they literally both pull into each other, and that hurts. And it's not, I'm not saying that in a mean way. It's just you got to be on the same page, right? So one person's getting a call, it's going one way, the other getting it the other way. You got to be in sync, and at times we've seen it, and they've looked good. You look at the Kentucky game, you look at coming back against Arkansas, you look at times this year, and they done some really good things. And then at times been not near as effective as they could have been with their talent.
And one of the big storylines this week is the return of Jalen Hyatt to Columbia. We covered him at Dutch Fork High School here. We know the history between him and South Carolina. What are you expecting from Jalen?
I just heard, I don't know if this is true, but I heard this today that he didn't get an offer to South Carolina, and that's...
Or Clemson.
Or Clemson.
That's recruiting, though. It's such an inexact science. It's hard. Like, you don't always know how guys are going to develop, but I will say as a player, it's personal, and I don't mind that, he takes it personal, and I love it. I think, one of the things that makes college, especially football, but really all college sports special, is how personal it is, right? When Clemson plays South Carolina, it's personal. Florida State, Florida, Georgia, OU, Texas, it's awesome. So I love it. I hope that, he comes in here and he does try to, prove something. That's just one of the awesome things. I mean, the different level of pressure that I felt like I had when we would go to Jacksonville to play Georgia, because it was personal, and I love it. So I would tell them, don't shy away from it.
Do you know what South Carolina's identity on offense is? Because we don't.
I think their identity should probably revolve around Spencer and his talent, but then at the same time, you have some backs that are very talented. But I think, just talking with Spencer a couple minutes ago, right? You have the opportunity to still finish the season super strong, right? I mean, you have the opportunity, 3 more games. You have it at home against one of the top 5 teams in the country, and then, you get to finish the season and then have a bowl game, and you have the opportunity to really finish the season strong. So, I think what a gift it is to be able to have at home, at night, Tennessee coming, right? Especially after last week, that's disappointing. I mean, that didn't look good. And so you have a gift, something that can motivate all the players to turn it around and really show up and focus, because the whole country's going to be watching tomorrow night.
We covered Jalen Hyatt. When did he come on your radar first? I mean, have you been tracking him?
Yeah, yes, we've been watching him, but I think the beginning of this year is where he really started to stand out. You would always see the top end speed, right? You see someone that, just makes it look so easy. His turnover is ridiculous. And then, some people will say, oh, he's in this offensive system and that gives him so much. Well, say that when he's going man-to-man against some of the better corners, and I think he's someone that I would just give a lot of love to. I think what he's done this season is ridiculous. I think at times he's shown that he can make some of the best corners look not as fast as other people. I think he's shown that he's a lot tougher than people give him credit for, especially on some of the different play actions where he's coming across, and on some of the receiver screens where he's really fought to get hard yardage. So I don't think he's just a really fast guy that runs fast and, the system sets him up. I think he's a really, really good player that is one of the most elite in the SEC.
And when you look at Spencer, I guess, what is it that, at least whether it's on film, what is it that's worked, what hasn't? What have you just seen from him as a whole this year?
I think his talent is elite. I think he throws one of the best balls in college football. I think he probably throws a better ball than, quite a few guys in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's very, very gifted thrower of the football. I also think, for as much scrutiny as he gets, I also think he's a really good teammate. I think a lot of, he's gotten so much hype from the TV show in high school all the way through, and, leaving OU. I mean, only thing I've heard from coaches and teammates is how much they like him, right? I don't think that always gets said. So I think those are, two amazing qualities. And then I also think one of the things with Spencer is I think there's some areas that he could probably clean up and some fundamentals. I was saying it earlier that when you're so gifted in areas like that, it's almost like he's a high school pitcher that can throw 100, and when you do that, you don't always work on your changeup, And I don't say that in a mean way. I just say I still think there's some areas where he's so gifted and he can just stay on his back foot and kind of roll right and still make these incredible throws. But I just think some of the next steps for him would be continuing to, in protection and step up. And I also don't think, a lot of people want to put it on quarterbacks, and I don't think that's fair. I think, they've had line issues, they've had running backs go down, they've had a lot of things. So I think he's incredibly talented. I think he's a good dude. I think he's continued to really work. I think maybe the biggest thing, if you're a South Carolina fan, that's been disappointing probably, is you just don't feel like the offense has been in sync.
To that end, it obviously hurts when you lose a running back or anything like that. But
It does.
But when you lose a guy, whether that's Marshawn Lloyd or Christian Bill Smith or whoever, what does that do to change the complexion of what an offense wants to do?
I think it's also being in sync, right? You're moving guys around and you're getting a lot of personnels. If you look at what they did last week, I don't know, they probably ran in 10, 12 different personnels.
Yeah.
So when you're playing in the swamp and you're trying to communicate and you're trying to get young guys to do all that, it's hard to kind of be almost feeling like you're on the same page, one offense. And that's where I think, first of all, I would always want Marshawn on the field. I think he's a very gifted player, and so him not being on there hurts. But then moving other guys from other positions, H-back tight end, vice versa, moving all the way around, just takes great communication. And on the road in the SEC, that's really hard.
Yeah. You obviously, this is not your first time in Columbia. Do you have a favorite spot here in Columbia?
I don't know if I have a favorite spot. I loved it. I loved when I was here for the Fireflies, and this city and all the fans and people were great. They were just I enjoyed coming here as a player in college, but I also loved playing here for the Fireflies, so I always enjoy it.